starting. And let's find. We're live, guys. Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
Hey, it's
Live stream party.
And let's find. Oh boy, we're live. There we go.
It's official.
Hello.
Hi.
Everybody's
Bionicle. All right.
Oh,
and Alessandro.
Hey.
Nicole. I saw that you submitted something to the Make Something Challenge.
That's right. We put you in the newsletter.
That's great.
Joe Whimsy.
Hello.
Great. So yeah, I don't think, Thomas, this is your first time at a live stream, right?
Yeah, it is actually.
Yeah, so this is everyone. This is Thomas. He is our operations coordinator. If you ever write in with a problem, you will get Thomas probably like 65% of the time, and me about 35% of the time. So that feels right. You want to say 75-25? Do you feel like you answered more?
90-10.
That is not correct.
Intercom.
You do get a lot more intercom than I do.
Yeah.
You have to deal with all of that. So Thomas is here, and then I think all you guys already know Kenny and Nick and Marley and me. And then our lovely intern Catherine is here, but she doesn't want to be on
Everybody
camera.
give her a round of applause.
Right there.
Yeah, she's going to do a great job of moderating comments and also posting your questions.
Yes. Just to jump in here really quickly, Milesy says, I never have any ideas for the Make Something Challenge. Milesy, it's all good. We are going to keep doing the Make Something Challenge. If you find something that tickles your interests, or you are hoping to have work with a medium of any kind that you just want to delve into or whatever have you, do it that month.
Did we announce the next challenge?
Yeah, do we have the video out yet? I saw you guys.
Should we tell them the sneak
editing
peek?
it this
For
morning.
those who are at the live stream.
The theme for March. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who did submit, and please, I encourage you to go find these people's videos that are in the video that is going to come out today, and watch them and support your fellow network members and your fellow creators, because it was really, really wonderful, and it's just going to make everyone else happier to go on their pages and see that stuff. So anyway, the next challenge is going to be robots.
Ooh, okay.
It's going to be really great. You, of course, may use the Fred bot in your videos. That would be really fun, or any other robot from pop culture, or maybe you're making your own robot. We want to see that too. So whatever that means to you, robots, technology.
Astro Boy.
He's a robot. He's got robot feet.
Are you sure he's not an android?
He's a robot. He has no human parts.
Aren't robots, are androids all robots?
Androids can be robots. Cyborgs aren't robots.
Right, cyborgs are part human.
What about Mega Man?
Edward's also fun.
Mega Man is a robot.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Rockman. So.
Okay.
A cyborg has to have some kind of organic matter.
Oh, I thought that was an android. Or
Android
17 and 18 TVs. I think they're like more considered cyborgs, right?
Yeah, they're technically cyborgs.
Oh, maybe that's why it confused me. It's Dragon Ball Z. Blame anime. Yeah, it's robots.
Yeah. But we were all super excited to see all of your submissions for the February Make Something Challenge. We got like 6, didn't we?
Yeah.
That's like 5 more than last time.
Yeah.
It's picking up. That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's called what?
Progress.
It's both. Growth and progress.
Yeah.
So,
if any of you guys got the newsletter, we put them in the newsletter, so you should definitely look at all of them because they are all very cute and they all have cats.
Yeah, they all have cats.
Which is important.
It was inspired by Andrea and her love of cats.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't received any newsletters, please let us know.
Right.
And we'll add you on the list.
Yeah. We sometimes that mailing list is not super in date.
Yeah, or check your spam folder.
Right.
Yeah,
Any of those
that
things. you know, if you want to get the newsletters, I like to feel like I'm not just sending them out into the void. People are getting them. I mean, if I am, that's fine. You know?
Chaotic canine culture. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Woof woof. Canines.
Yep, that's what they are. Great. So, I mean, do you guys want to just get started? It's about that time. All right.
Yeah.
So, our idea for the live stream this time around, now that we're kind of getting more into it, is kind of focusing around a theme. So, we picked Content ID this time around because we just have a lot of questions about it. But again, like, this is also sort of your time. So, if you've got any questions or anything you want to say that's not about Content ID, please just ask it, say it to us. We want to hear it. This is just kind of like a jumping off point to get us started. And if you guys have anything, like any specific topics that you want to talk about in future live streams, let us know. You can put it in live chat, or you can send a support ticket. We get them. All right, so I'm kind of going to be talking a lot this live stream, but if any of you guys want to jump in at any point, definitely feel free. I can only talk for about an hour before my voice just goes away. So.
Oh, I have some vocal exercises you can do.
Oh, I found out too late. So the first thing is, I'm going to talk about it a little bit, and then we have some great questions that some of you guys submitted for using the little form. And then if you guys also have any questions right now, you can send them in the live chat. So the first thing that I like to people sometimes ask is why do we even have Content ID? It's kind of stupid and frustrating. It's a system that is necessary. I don't know if any of you remember, this was about, gosh, was it like 13, 14 years ago? Am I that old? When YouTube first started, and I thought of it as the place where you go to watch anime, because there was just, you could post anything you wanted on there.
Death Note episode 1, part 2,
yes,
part 4.
Yeah, and there were like 8-minute segments.
Yeah.
It was music videos. I
Right.
for that.
Mm-hmm. And nobody was making any money, and there's pirated stuff everywhere, and it was just kind of like the Wild West and free for all. So Content ID was created by YouTube to sort of stop that, because if you created something, you should be able to stop people from ripping and re-uploading it on YouTube without your permission. Ideally. What do they say?
I definitely watched a lot of movies.
Yep.
Yes. You know.
Part 5 of 32.
I just have to hope it's in suggested, because otherwise you'll just never find it.
Like a playlist or whatever too. Yeah.
Right.
Video replies was a thing around that time too.
Right. Video replies. Yeah. So Content ID is a solution to a problem, but obviously, as you guys all know, it's not a great solution. That's a good way to watch Fantastic Four, guys, at the same time.
I actually saw that in a movie.
I think that's about as much effort that you want to put into watching that movie. So just basically an overview of how Content ID works, and I'm pretty sure most of you already know this, but because Content ID is technically a thing that not everybody has access to it. We have access to it as a network, and that means that if you have something that you want protected with Content ID, we can probably get that for you. But basically what happens is anytime any one of you uploads a video, if you're part of one of our CMSs, Content ID sees that video, and it kind of creates a little copy of it. And then there's a thing called an asset, which is just a bunch of information associated with that copy that says, all right, YouTube, when you find a match to this video anywhere on the rest of YouTube, this is what you're going to do with it. And obviously, you can block it, you can monetize it, or you can track it. Block and monetize people are most familiar with. I don't even know why you would use track. That basically does nothing. But that doesn't mean that your video is blocking or monetizing anything else at this point. in most cases, the asset just has no information because we don't automatically enable Content ID for people. We just don't do it. There's some channels, like if you're a gaming channel and you use Content ID, what will happen, because this has happened before. Oh, keeps cutting out?
You want low quality.
Mm.
You should refresh because it's working for me, friend.
Is everything all right?
Edit, Stitch.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah, just try refreshing. If you're a gaming channel, like, you probably shouldn't have Content ID because you will just start claiming gameplays of everybody else's video of the same game. But if you are like an original animation channel and you like make an animation and then you see other people ripping that video and re-uploading it because they want to get ad revenue off of your hard-earned work, what you can do is you can let us know and we can kind of activate that asset and we can say, all right, any copies on here, we're monetizing them or we're blocking them. And that either lets you earn ad revenue from them, or if you block them, that means that the only place that anybody can see that animation is on your channel. And then on the other side of it, when you get a claim, that's because somebody else with Content ID has done the same thing. It's not a perfect system. I'm sure all of you know this, especially things like YouTube does a terrible job of identifying stuff like classical music. So there'll be a lot of false claims for that. Occasionally, you might get claimed if, like, there's somebody who has a Content ID access and they create a video using the same stock footage that you used. And sometimes it's, we'll get into fair use a little bit later.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the flip side of it. It's not the best system, but it is kind of what we have to deal with. So it's important to know about it. I'm not going to go too much into more detail here because you guys don't want to listen to me talk for 20 minutes. That's boring.
Unless you have specific questions.
Right, unless you have specific questions. And we've got some to go down, but there is a guide on it available in your dashboards that I made that gives you like all of the detail on Content ID. But I did want to quickly touch on fair use because we get a lot of support tickets about fair use.
Yeah, like what it really means, like.
Yeah.
What is fair use really?
What is fair use? On YouTube, fair use doesn't actually mean much. It's a term used in a court of law. So the only time that you really want to bring up fair use is if somebody was suing you or if you were suing somebody. Unfortunately, on YouTube, like I wish that there was like a definition of fair use and we could just send it to our YouTube context and be like, this meets that definition, you should remove this claim. Unfortunately, that's not the case. YouTube is dealing with content from all over the world and every single country has its own kind of fair use definition and who is allowed to use what and copyright laws. So while there's like maybe some stuff that most reasonable people would agree is fair use, like if you were talking about a specific aspect of a video and you used a very short scene.
Well, what is fair use?
Right.
The legal definition.
Well, the legal definition, I don't know it off the top of my head, but it basically means that you're allowed to use content that doesn't belong to you as long as it's transformative. And the way that I kind of think of transformative is like, is this a substitute for the original? So if you're reviewing like a movie and you go through the entire plot of the movie, that's maybe not transformative because after I've seen your review, like I already know what happens in the movie. Maybe I don't really want to see the movie anymore. But if you're talking about a specific aspect of the movie, like this character development, or if you're talking about like animation and you're talking about Disney animation and you use clips from various Disney movies, that's pretty transformative. But again, like it's unfair, but in the world of YouTube, Disney can still block your video, even if in a court of law it might be considered fair use, because YouTube doesn't want to deal with the hassle of angering Disney.
Yeah, and like a part of that, like you may feel as though that your video is fair use, but the other party, may not feel the same way. And because of that, it just starts like a conflict, and they tend to just kind of stay away from that and just kind of let you duke it out.
Yeah.
Until whoever wins. But
Mm-hmm. And of course, the way that most of these go down is if you get a claim and you dispute it and you say it's fair use and they reinstate it and you dispute it again, they take down your video, and then you can submit a counter notification, and that's the only point at which YouTube really looks at your video, and then YouTube is deciding whether or not it's fair use. And if they're like, this is close enough, they send it to the claimant, and then the claimant has 10 days to sue you, or the video gets reinstated. And 10 days is a really, really short amount of time. So while I don't want to make this official recommendation, like probably 95% of the time, I do know somebody who did go through the process of suing.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
And what was that experience like?
well, this was a YouTube channel that I actually worked for in the past. They were also very closely associated with a law firm, so it was probably a lot easier for them to go through the process of suing than anybody else. And the lawsuit, like, they were trying to sue somebody in like Vietnam or something, very far away. There was a language barrier. It was very hard to find anything. I don't actually remember the conclusion to this story, but I think that the video did remain down.
Okay.
Yeah. But really, like, most of the time, it's not worth the other company's while to try and sue you, because they do have to take like actual legal action steps. I don't think they can just like send a cease and desist and YouTube will be satisfied with that. But YouTube might not accept your counter notification. We've had cases where that happens. So if you're doing like a reaction video and you send that to YouTube, they'll probably look at it and they'll be like, well, that's not fair use, so we're not going to move forward with that.
Yeah, especially reaction videos is like very like weird when it comes to like what exactly is fair use.
Yeah.
I seen one of my favorite things I seen another channel do was make the video that they were reacting to very transparent. To like kind of bypass that, and I think they have some success. But
It's difficult. Like you can do. I've watched a lot of from the post-content ID days. I watched a fair amount of anime with like the small screen in the middle of the big
Pictures.
screen,
yeah.
or the very zoomed in screen.
The one that
moves.
right, and it moves around, and then there's like a motion background. And those sort of work. Content ID does keep getting better and better.
Slowly but surely, the automatic part.
Yeah, not like the system as well, but the robots keep getting smarter.
Mhm.
So,
but then your videos get sloppier.
Yeah.
When you try to bypass it.
Yeah, I mean, our recommendation is don't make reaction videos like the bulk of your channel. If you want to do one, make sure you're okay with getting claimed. Because sometimes it makes sense, sometimes you're like, I want to react to like this movie trailer because my fans will really appreciate it. It's going to drive a lot of traffic to my other videos. So it makes sense to do it.
Off of it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you might not be able to make money off of it because in most cases, monetize is the thing that happens when you get claimed. And think people don't block as often as I expect them to.
Yeah, not as often.
I would
It's
just block.
monetized.
But normally it's monetized, but it's still up there and it's still driving revenue. And as long as you don't do it too often, it probably isn't going to hurt your channel.
Is Disney gonna block you, or are they gonna monetize it?
I've seen a lot of Disney content on YouTube, so my guess is that they monetize. Yeah.
I see.
I'm not
Make
saying
money
that
from
I've watched
videos.
a whole movie on YouTube.
Yeah,
but
that doesn't mean you upload Moana.
No.
Right.
yeah.
They're just like, that's our money. Thank you.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of questions, pre-submitted ones, that I'm going to go down and answer. Again, chime in at any point, guys, if you want. So the first one is from Maddox Stitcher. And And they're asking what's being done, whether by the network or by YouTube, about the current copyright ransom situation, and what should we do if we find ourselves in this position. So for anybody that doesn't know what this is, I posted it in the newsletter a couple of weeks back. There was an instance in which somebody was doing takedown strikes, so different from Content ID. Anybody can submit a takedown strike, and against some small gaming channels, and basically giving them 2 strikes and then saying, if you don't want a 3rd strike and if you want me to reverse these strikes, you got to pay up, you got to give me money. And they did not actually own the content because, again, these were gaming channels, but somehow they were able to kind of fool YouTube into thinking they did, and YouTube even looked into them for a first time, and they're like, oh no, that's fine, that's legit, and it turns out that it actually wasn't. So I do know, I believe that YouTube is kind of, because of this, revising a little bit how it looks at copyright strikes, but you know, like sometimes with YouTube they do things very fast and sometimes it takes a while. So in the meantime, like what I can say is, if this happens to you, if anybody gives you a Content ID takedown strike or copyright takedown strike and asks for money, that's usually not above board. Most of the time when somebody, like a legitimate content owner, if they give you a copyright takedown strike, what they want is for the video to go away. They're not trying to extort money out of you. You know, Disney doesn't want like your $200 or whatever that they're going to try to extort from you. So please let us know.
Please, please.
Yes, do not pay them. And we are going to bug YouTube about it incessantly.
We have a really like huge and close relationship with YouTube.
Yeah.
We bother them every day.
Every day, multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Just like they're like, hi, I'm writing in again.
Yeah. Like, hey, Jason, again.
Like a plethora of issues at the same time. So if anything, please reach out to us and we'll knock on YouTube's door and get that settled.
Yeah. But yeah, good question. It's very disturbing to read about, but please do not give anybody money because they're extorting you with Content ID strikes. So the next one is from Family Fun Travel. They say that their channel is aimed at a children's audience and they want to talk about the new restrictions on channels where children appear. This is also a really good, really timely question. It's not really, this isn't so much about copyright as it is about child safety. In case, again, any of you weren't aware, we did post about it in the newsletter, but I forget who it was. Some YouTuber did like kind of an expose where he went into the comments of a bunch of children's videos. You know, there's a lot of family vloggers, and found basically a bunch of like really disgusting comments and screen caps, basically from pedophiles. And that's really icky and gross. And YouTube they say they're handling it, but some of the ways that they're handling it are like not really stopping the behavior. So one of the things that they're doing is demonetizing those videos where inappropriate comments appear, just no matter what's actually in the video. So if you've got anything with that could possibly lead to like these gross pedophile comments, personally, I would just disable comments on the video. It's really unfortunate, but it's better to be safe than sorry, especially like when YouTube is reacting to something, they tend to kind of like go 50% to, and then I might like walk it back a little bit, but I
think it's more than 50%.
Yeah.
This year is more than 50%.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like within the community, I guess management section within YouTube, there's like a box for you to put in blacklist. You can blacklist a bunch of words.
Severely moderate, like really pay attention.
Words, copy paste it in there.
Yeah.
That should help. We have TubeBuddy.
Yep.
That can help you out with managing your community a lot better than with YouTube alone. I recommend you kind of dive into there. You can easily filter out words and take those out. Just some little couple of recommendations. But I actually spoke with YouTube a couple of days ago. We had breakfast with them, and so apparently this is going to be like kind of temporary. Their solution was just like demonetizing that video with the comments, but that's going to be temporary, but they're going to try to kind of build like more tools and software to kind of help when it comes to like those really, you know, bad and vulgar comments towards like children and things like that. So this is like a temporary thing. We don't know like when that will, you know, will happen, when those tools will come out, but they are working on a solution, a much more better and sound solution than just like turning the video off, you know, type of thing. But
that's good to hear.
yeah, but stay tuned. We'll keep you all posted.
Yeah, and you know, also when it's good to say now, I think like if you are featuring like, especially like live children in any of your videos, just make sure that everything is 100% safe and family friendly, like no pranks, no scares, nothing where kids are like even pretending to be in danger. Especially right now, it's just best to play it safe because if YouTube hits you with that community guideline strike, like your channel could go down and it takes a long time to get back.
And if you aren't like sure, you know, feel free to reach out to us and give you some tips.
Right. So the next question is from Silent Phil.
Hi, Phil.
Hi. And he asks, how short does a music clip have to be in order for it to be allowed in a video? So that's a good question. The answer is there is no answer. So you can technically get claimed, like the Content ID robots are that good, they can get you for like a couple of seconds of music because it's a machine. So there's no like particular rule. So the best thing to do if you want to be 100% sure that you're not going to get claimed is don't use music that is not yours. So we have an app, Epidemic Sound. We have Epidemic Sound available on our dashboard for all of our network members. It's not just sound effects. There is a bunch of really great like music tracks, background sounds. So you know, and you can use that, and you will never get claimed. And if you do get claimed, you can let us know, and we'll release the claim for you in like, you know, a couple of hours. So I still get, there's some people who like, I get like multiple claim notifications from them for like audio, and I'm like, just use Epidemic Sound. Please use Epidemic Sound.
Yeah, just keep note too of like the songs you download too. Just it'll make us easier when you send us over. Like, okay, I used this song, and you can find the URL here. And when you're like you get claimed by someone, like you know, you can what's the term called, like to counteract the claim, including that link. Dispute.
You can dispute the claim.
Dispute the claim.
Yeah. And a thing to know about disputing claims: if you dispute a claim, I believe within 24 hours after it was made, all of the money earned during the time that the claim is in dispute, and even back from before you disputed it, if that claim gets released, that goes directly to you.
So that there's like a counter still.
Yeah. So, but if it's longer than 24 hours, I believe that the money just goes to you if the claim is released from the time that you made the claim. So the claimant still gets like, you know, a couple of days worth of your revenue. 30 days. It's 30 days. Miles C. We have a comment.
It's Mad Stitcher, I think. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So yeah, if you dispute a claim and the claimant doesn't do anything for 30 days, it automatically gets released. But they might release it sooner, or they might decide to reinstate it within that 30-day period. So the next question, which I'm going to summarize because it's a bit long, is from Alessandro. So Alessandro is asking, is there a risk when somebody uploads videos and images on YouTube or Facebook or social networks? Are they unwittingly giving up the right to those images? So it's a little complicated. I actually went on YouTube's terms of service to kind of get it straight from the horse's mouth. Basically, when you upload a video on YouTube, YouTube does have the right to use it in other content. I mean, they're going to do this very rarely, but if, for instance, YouTube was creating a video about animators on YouTube and they decided to like take a clip of your animation and put it in there, they're allowed to do that. They do not have to ask you. However, you still retain all of the rights to your content. So YouTube, I don't believe YouTube can like take your content and say, this is mine, this isn't yours, and I'm going to sell it for money now. That's not going to happen. If that did happen, YouTube would be in trouble with everybody.
Yeah, well.
So if you're not, like, I guess don't post anything that you wouldn't be comfortable with YouTube using part of for promotional purposes. But don't worry, you definitely retain all of the rights to your content. Even if you post it on YouTube, you can still post it somewhere else. YouTube can't come after you for that. It's yours.
About that.
So,
is that also true for private videos as well? Unlisted videos?
That YouTube can use them for promotional content?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so. Like they wouldn't, but
Yeah,
I don't think they would. I don't remember any cases like that.
Yeah, I can't say yes or no. I don't think that was in the terms of service, but I don't think they would do that.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't make sense to them.
Like uploaded.
Yeah, it's still uploaded. It's still like on their server.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not public. So like I know you can't really claim private videos.
You can.
Well,
No, you can.
You can, but yeah, you can't see them. Thomas reviews all of the claim disputes.
Yeah. So these mine, like I can't
so
see
you're
it,
always seeing like you can't see this video because it's private, but the claim still gets made.
Yeah.
And then the last question that we have is from Joe Whimsy. Again, this is a little bit long, so I'm going to try and sum it up. So Joe MC is asking, first, how does CFN handle or cover original content created by members such as myself? And let's see, how do I go about pitching these ideas to CFN for continuation on my channel? Oh, Joe, you're here. So if you can give me a little bit more clarification on that second part.
oh, Phil is here too. We already answered your question. Oh, sorry, Phil.
And
Rewind back a little.
yeah,
bit.
rewind. It's there. It's there.
You there?
Yeah, and then the third part of Joe's question was, I have a second channel, but it's trademarked, and they're the sole proprietor, and how would that be handled? So I'm not super sure about like if Joe, if you could clarify if this means that this content is trademarked by you or if it's trademarked by somebody else. So for original content, what we can do if you want that content protected by Content ID is we do it sort of on a case-by-case basis. Again, this is to prevent us from accidentally enabling Content ID for anything that shouldn't have Content ID, like gaming content or, say, reviewer content where it accidentally flags like parts of the same third-party content that somebody else is reviewing. But you send us the video URL and then let us know what kind of policy you would like. So if you would like copyright content to be blocked or to be monetized. And then we'll review it. If it's the first time that you've sent us something like this, we might ask you a few questions just to confirm that you actually created the video. And then we'll get that policy set up for you. If you want to know later, like how many claims have been made, just ask us. We can get that information for you pretty easily.
Yes, we can.
If, however, your content is not original, and if it's trademarked by somebody else and if you have the rights to it, we can do that. If you don't have the rights to it, we can't do anything because you don't have the rights to it. So you can't say that nobody else can upload it. Does that answer your question? There's a bit of a time lag here, but if you want to like clarify this later, you can always submit a support ticket. I'll make sure that it goes to me, or Thomas is equally pretty much as good as answering Content ID questions, so we will be able to get you an answer.
I said, oh, okay, sweet. So
dope. All right, so that kind of ends the Content ID portion.
cool.
Yeah. If you guys had any more questions, anything you want to talk about, Catherine, did we get any questions from that live chat?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah, you want to just hand me the laptop?
Sure.
Yes. So you don't have to be on camera?
have a question.
Mm,
So you have a question?
Yeah, they're there. Okay.
okay. All right. The first one we had. Oh, this was a while back. What do you do with the uploads and posts of the Make Something challenge? Marley, I think you answered. If you want to take this is your baby.
Well, no,
Oh,
this
it's
is
Nick's
our
baby.
Nick's baby.
Nick's baby. So
My
sorry.
child. Sorry, what was the question exactly?
What do you do when somebody like submits something to the Make Something challenge? What do you do with that video? Like, what do they get from doing that thing?
What do they get?
Well, not necessarily get, but like, do you promote the video in any way? What do you do with it?
Right.
How do you feature
So, thank you for the question. What we will do is we will take a section of your video and then we will put it in the next month's challenge video in order to promote it, essentially. And then we will also like put your information in the description as well. And we will shout out your name in the video. And it's just a really, really wonderful way to get you as the network member activated and creating more things, and then also gives us a chance to see who our network members are and what does your art look like. I know already just from doing this challenge so far, I've been able to discover new creators that I personally haven't looked at their stuff before.
Mhm.
Like Fancy Pants Bionicle did an amazing piece that they submitted for the challenge, and now I'm going to be watching more of their stuff moving forward, and hopefully they're going to be able to make more things for the challenge in the future, and the people who are watching the challenge will also be able to discover them as well.
Yeah.
So that's what you get.
Mhm.
Hashtag make something.
Yes.
Get a lot.
Yeah,
Challenge.
and we also we
Make
put you in
something
the
challenge.
newsletter.
Yeah, and then we also will put you in the newsletter to support you.
Yeah, that's my favorite week because I don't have to find anybody to feature. Because you guys just send it to me. So question number 2 about Content ID is, can we use like music samples? Probably not. You're probably going to run into the same issue.
Well, I
What do you
just
think,
one
Thomas?
like if the sample is like before a certain year, might like turn into like
Right.
No,
If
like
the
for public use.
Yeah, if the song is public domain, then
Yeah.
you can use a sample from it, but you probably can't use a sample from. It's not exactly the same thing as like, because I know artists use samples all the time, but they have record labels who deal with copyright and things like that. I don't think using a sample is going to keep you from getting a claim, unfortunately.
Like I doubt your video will be taken down.
It
but
won't. It'll probably be
Maybe
monetized.
just claim that video just to monetize.
Yeah.
I think
And
I had an article on this. I'm about to look up.
okay.
But it was like a while ago. So
All right,
here's
well,
hoping.
Thomas is on hold. And then the last question, again from Joe. So in other words, I can release trailers and pilots of my original cartoons. If you created the cartoon, you can release whatever you want related to it. And if you want it protected by Content ID, as long as you made it, just send it to us and we will get that done for you. But yeah, if it's yours, you can release trailers, you can flip it around and release it back to front. Like, release it, yeah. With a caveat, if you've created a cartoon for somebody else, like you have an agreement, say, with a studio and you're an animator for them, you probably, in that agreement, said where you can and can't also release this footage. So, for instance, I've done a tiny animation in my past for my past employer.
Oh.
Yes, and you will never see it. But I can't release that on my YouTube channel and make money from it because while I was creating that animation, I was being employed by them, and so everything that I created while they were paying me belongs to them. But if it's something that you created on your own time, or if it's your own studio and you're working with like outside funding or something, and you didn't like sign a contract saying where this can and can't be released, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a freelance animator, always make sure you're reading your contracts or discussing your contracts with your freelance boss. That's super important.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like know where you're allowed to show your stuff, if you're allowed to show your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've done freelance gigs that I'm not allowed to put in my demo reel, so that doesn't do you
That's
much good.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Even with like music too as well. Even if the visuals are all yours, but let's say if you're using like a background music from like Epidemic Sound, I think the license is only on that platform, only on YouTube.
Yeah, only on
So
YouTube.
it's like you can't get that video you created and put it like on a Netflix or a Hulu. You'd have to like go to them and ask for like a license for that. So that's something to always consider too as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, as Marley said, and Andrew, look at your contracts.
So I think that's.
We have another question.
We have another question.
That Maiko girl says, I have a random question.
We love random questions.
How effective is showing your face on camera when explaining something versus only showing art accompanied by voice acting?
I think that all depends on your type of channel. We have storytime animators who tell stories through their little animated avatar, and that does really well for them. But then at the same time, we have gamers who are definitely more so known for their personality, and having that live reaction, that live face to look at definitely works for them.
Yeah.
I would recommend that you sit down and you take a long look at your content, see what performs best for you, and then do that.
And I think you can also figure it out from your audience, because they're the ones that have to watch you.
That's
so
true.
Would they rather see your face, or would they rather see your
avatar?
Your avatar.
Or like.
That's actually what I was going to say.
Or if you're an artist
Cameron's
channel.
Avatar.
Yes. We love that movie.
I love that movie so much.
yeah. It all really just depends on that. So I think playing around and seeing what your audience kind of like gravitates towards is the best way to go.
Yeah, and as we like grow in this, I guess, digital media space, I think showing your face kind of seems to be like more on the leaning side. Just looking at back in my day when I used to play a lot of games on YouTube back in like maybe 2006, 2007. Like no one was doing face cam, and then it evolved to people doing like voice acting under it or commentary, and then that evolved into face camera and things like that. So I think as we grow, we start to express ourselves more with video, with our faces, and how we entertain with it, how we teach someone, how we inspire. So having like a face that kind of resembles who you are, it's like, wow, I'm looking at the same person that that's me, a human being.
Yeah.
And I think for some content creators are able to connect a lot more with their audience. So knowing your audience and just finding ways to connect. And it may not even be with being on camera, but just your art. But do what's best for you, that you're able to connect with your audience at a much more intimate level. That's something for you to find out though. But always A/B test.
Yes.
You're building relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question.
Good question. Anything else? Oh, Joe did ask if we've done a live stream about freelance animators and contracts, but that's a pretty good idea we haven't done that, but that's a pretty decent idea for a future one, or maybe even a future guide.
Yeah.
Because I imagine we've got a lot of people who do freelance animation in the network, and it can be tricky to navigate.
Always have a contract.
Always have a contract.
Always have something on paper.
And then read your contract.
Yeah.
Read it.
I'm having war flashbacks.
Are there any other questions, friends? Oh, Thomas, you had an answer.
Well, yeah, so I found the tabs I was referred to previously. So this tab I have right here, that's from Cornell about copyright and what is fair use of stuff. It's something, I'm not a lawyer or anything, that's not my expertise, but at least from what I'm reading right here, if it's 100 years old, then music from that time, at least in the United States, could fall under the possibility of being in public domain.
Yeah, I think
but I'll share the article.
There's a year at which point everything made earlier than that year, and I don't remember what it is, but I remember that it's frozen in place for a while because Disney really doesn't want to give up the copyright to Mickey Mouse.
At least from what I see right here, it could be 1924.
That seems right.
Yeah.
Everyone should just do sick remixes of like weird Victorian nursery rhymes. Just do that.
Just add memes to it, and there you go.
Yeah. Just come up with like a sick beat and then just like drop an old Victorian nursery rhyme.
Let me.
You're giving me war flashbacks.
Let me actually share this with the chat. If I can find that.
Any other questions, comments, suggestions?
Typing fair use in your description does not make it fair use.
Please don't do that.
Please don't do that. Yeah, you can show that, Catherine.
And what's
Yeah,
that paragraph
that's
that they
me.
usually say? Like it's like a section.
Section,
what?
Blah 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 video is
Section,
covered under
you know, blah blah blah
section.
blah. That
No,
doesn't work. You know?
it doesn't work.
It may help with SEO
Yeah.
if someone's typing, you know,
Mhm.
illegal substance will pull up, but that's
Yeah.
about it. That doesn't work.
And if you're disputing a claim, even if like you're really angry at the people who claimed you, it's probably best to be polite.
Yes.
There is a human, unless the disputes just expire, there is a human that reviews them and might decide to reinstate your claim because you were mean to them.
Yeah, and sometimes it could be a mistake, you know.
Mistakes do just happen.
ROA Nitrox wants to know what the difference between trademark and copyright is.
Oh, okay. I think I know this. Again, not a lawyer. I didn't go to law school.
I'll take the bar.
But
You're as close as we got.
I'm so close, unless you want to bring Ryan in.
I was just gonna say, as opposed to the actual lawyer in the office.
No, listen, Ryan has other stuff to do.
You're not watching this, Brian.
He tunes in to all
Sorry?
of them.
There's an article about it. I'm sure that there's, yeah, definitely share that. But trademark, yeah, actually, yeah, that's actually pretty correct. Trademark is an individual aspect. Copyright is the whole work. I need to bring my glasses. Yeah, trademark is difficult to get. So to get a trademark, you have to like prove that your character or your name is used in a certain way. You have to like send the trademark office files, and it's a process. That's why you don't see trademarks for like every original character out there. Like Harry Potter's probably trademarked. But you know, if somebody like writes a book, every character in that book is not trademarked, but they own the copyright to it. So copyright is, yeah, it's the original work. It's a lot easier than trademark.
If you want to protect your characters, you have to put original OC, do not steal.
Oh,
That's the way that
that's
works.
legal advice from Marley.
I learned that on DeviantArt.
Did it work?
Older DeviantArt days.
No one's stolen my OCs, so
Magical force
boom.
Mhm. Yeah. So I'm just looking over here because my eyes are bad. Yeah, Moana that's absolutely correct.
Yeah. But maybe it's worth we can sit down with our general counsel.
Yeah.
A couple of lines and we'll throw her like on a newsletter or something.
Yeah, we'll put it in a newsletter. We'll add it to the content ID guide, something along those lines. So don't take any of this as gospel. Do your own research, but this is our understanding. And
Okay, just went back and checked.
10 seconds of ballroom blitz.
oh,
You don't own that.
you do not own Ballroom Blitz. You could, I mean, like, also shouldn't be saying this, but using like work you don't own doesn't necessarily mean that you will get claimed. A lot of companies have different policies. There's different match policies, like even Frederator has these. So you can set a policy of like, claim this video if it matches like 20% of the reference or more, and then anything under that doesn't get claimed. So it is kind of like, it's not a thing like you will definitely get claimed. It depends on whose work you're using. Some companies claim everything under the sun. Some do not. So Disney is actually an example of this. They are totally happy to well, content ID doesn't really apply here, but any YouTube footage of people like visiting the parks, they are happy to have up unless it's a parade or fireworks show, in which case that gets taken down.
Yeah. and you're right, Matt Stitcher. Like once it's uploaded, doesn't matter if it goes public or not. Like you know, with that digital fingerprint that's being scanned across the entire YouTube, if it matches, then an action can happen, whether it'll be monetized or taken down. And it can happen like several months after you upload the video as well, because Content ID's robot takes some time to go through like the billions of videos on YouTube. So just because it's been up for a couple of months and it doesn't get claimed doesn't mean you won't get claimed in the future. Yeah. And so another advice, like just because you see someone else do it doesn't mean you can get away with it. I think that's the majority of why we get a lot of like these people did that. You don't know their situation. They could have an agreement with the other person, or their videos could be monetized by the claimant. Or just didn't get caught yet, Yeah, or they haven't gotten caught yet. It may not be today or tomorrow, but it's coming. Unless a video is blocked, you can't actually tell if it's been claimed on YouTube just by watching it.
And I will say, like, you have some like problematic videos, then YouTube's advice and our advice would be to just demonetize the video, and you shouldn't get any issues from that, and no revenue, of course, but no, it'll save your channel.
And now, what? I got a claim from a video. Yeah, 2012. Years ago. I still get claims from videos I uploaded like 2007 and 8. Oh my God. Sometimes it's just like the claimant is figuring out what Content ID is right now. Yeah, I think I get it from UMG from my game videos, like or WMG, one of them. They're always like claiming like the music of the video game. So that's probably where you're getting hit with Phil.
My Wonder Woman reaction video got claimed a month after the trailer came out.
You didn't put that paragraph.
You reacted to it.
Yeah. I didn't put original OC, do not steal, because she's not one of my OCs.
She's not. You did not create one.
I did not create one.
I heard it here.
But
any other questions or anything like that?
Anything about Content
yeah,
ID?
before we wrap up.
Yeah. Oh, it's about that time.
I would like to take a second to plug the CFN Discord server.
Yes. Oh, if you're not on the Discord, get on the Discord.
I'm gonna pop a invite link.
Definitely.
In the chat right now.
You're not showing up.
But if you're not in there, you should totally join. If you didn't read the newsletter today, the Discord server is now taking the place of the forums, which will be shutting down soon. But the Discord has been up for about 2 weeks now. It's already super active. People are in there talking, planning potential collaborations, showing each other their work. It's really cool, and we would love to have as many of you in there as possible. So just follow this link, and you should be able to just join right away. It'll automatically add you. And yeah, it's awesome. It's a really cool place to chill, and we are planning on doing a game night in there, so I can wreck all of you at Mario Kart.
Wow. That's a challenge.
Oh, Switch.
Okay.
Bold words.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, my friend.
Okay.
The last time I played Mario Kart, it was on the Nintendo 64.
The last time I played Mario Kart was against Mr. Nick Reed.
Who won?
Who won?
Ooh,
well,
I definitely won.
I seem to remember your first cup being silver, and then when we played the second time, my cup was what color?
See,
gold?
I did this to you.
Gold?
See,
I'm just gonna sip my tea here.
my name, Toad.
Toad.
I play as my me in the clown car with the Pikmin costume.
It's very specific.
So annoying.
No,
Yeah.
but yeah, hop in the Discord. It's really fun.
Yeah, we're hoping to turn it into like just really a general digital hangout space for all of you. And it's been really great so far to see people. They're like sharing their art, sharing their videos. We're a lot talking about Pokemon.
Yeah, planning what Pokemon we want. I don't know, like, yeah, showing off our like drawings and stuff.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just a cool place to hang out.
Yeah, it's a good time. And again, the forums are going away at the end of the month. So if there's anything in there that you want to save it down now.
So just want to plug in here if anyone plays Dragon Ball Fighters on PC. So do I. I'll like to play against you guys. Issuing a challenge for my own.
Future game night.
Right. Speaking of challenges,
Uh-oh.
one would love to see some stuff for the Make Something
Some
challenge.
robots.
Give us some robots.
Give us some robots. Off and knock. Let me see some robots.
Come on, Mad Stitcher.
Phil, let me
You
see
know
some
some embroidery
robots.
work. Let's make a fret bot.
Everyone draw a robot. Do
Everyone
it.
draw, yeah, but do it on YouTube because that's fun. But if not, that's also fine.
You can
Just-
post it on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll still put you in the video because we like you.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, make something challenge. Hashtag make something challenge. If you hashtag just make something, then I won't see it because I forget to look up that hashtag.
That sounds like a you problem.
Well, I can make it a me solution. Make something challenge.
I was about to.
Great. I'll screenshot that and put that in the video. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks for your work.
Mhm.
Oh.
Do bionicles count as robots?
Yeah.
That's a
Yes.
Marley question.
Yeah. Bionicles
Yeah.
aren't made of organic matter, so I would say that they count as robots.
Yes. Marley had that answer ready.
Wow. I love
You love bionicle? You were-
Power Rangers with Voltron, Gundam, stuff like that.
The sky's the limit.
All right. Is there anything else? Any other questions before we wrap it up?
I think we're
Looks like
good.
everyone's something. All right. Well, again, thanks guys for coming out and talking to us about Content ID and other things. And we're gonna do this again next month.
Yeah.
At some point.
Oh, very cool.
All
See you
right.
then.
Bye.
Everybody loves you.
Hang on. I have to actually close this out.
Not.